I can honestly say that I didn't get exposed to the golden line of the number 2 and 5 till later on, but I was being exposed to the BMT and IND lines because those are the lines that my parents were traveling. You have to differentiate what is style and what is flash and glamour and glitter and all to what is the fundamentals of a movement. I did operate in a sort of very regimented, methodical way. Maybe some may say military. I like to say ninja. Very austere, mysterious, dark spaces. You know, within a dark city. Some kind of wanton act of vandalism, as many politicians at the time were trying to sell it as. These were acts of worship. Acts of worship to a culture, you know, creating something from nothing. And I'm getting the read back. I always say this, I'll keep the light on for you. Because I always lay in the cut. I lay in the shadows like I did back then. And I just wait for things to come to fruition. You got the whole kitchenette there.
I got the Lee. Look, we're not playing out here, man. This is like, listen, this is the real deal. We got the tea, we got the scones.
This is beautiful.
Here we go, my man.
Lots of people don't know that breakdancing in its very infant stages was called burning. You know, we as a collective were calling ourselves writers because that's what we were doing. But you know, we never thought about the idea that this would be, could be, should be art. And it was. That wall, the Howard the Duck wall, changed the course of history. Possibly, arguably, the course of art history global wise. Keith Haring, when he asked me, the late great Keith Haring, that's when I realized that it was a very special event, that he said, how did you do that? Because he was so mesmerized by it and possibly paralyzed, where it's all black. And I'm like, I was thinking about that in 1978, 79.
Wow.
I wanted to create a subway car that was different shades of, different hues, temperatures, whatnot, of black. I'll give you a little history, not to indulge in it for long. I was the first one bringing spray paint from Europe with a whole new different palette, because I discovered all the new palette in Italy and Germany.
Did you ever discover the Buntlack?
That's the first paints I was bringing. All the album cover art back in the day. Something that we are missing so much nowadays. Drive like a New York cabbie. True on
the gas.
I'm giving you the green.
We haven't even gone to the drag car racing
yet. My God, I'm giving you the green light to go through the red.
Brilliant.
The 5 of them, I'll say Mono 105.1. That was his serial number. 105.1. Doc 109. Dirty Slug 335. Slave 1, Lee.
Right, so lights, camera, action. On this week's show, we have an absolute legendary writer who was putting his name up on the huge steel trains back in 1974 and creating blockbuster murals. He was in the legendary crew, the Fabulous Five, as well as being an actor, and played the part of Zorro in the iconic hip-hop classic film WILDSTYLE. He's also got a book out called 50 Years of New York Graffiti Art and Beyond, which looks absolutely incredible. We have the hugely talented, the mighty, the supreme, one of the true graffiti kings of New York City. We have the one and only Lee in the back of the world-class, famous, iconic UltraCab. Lee, what can I say, man?
Thank you for having me. I love being in London, and I love the culture, and I especially love the black cabs.
Oh yeah, I mean, our history runs deep. As I said to you, you know, our history runs back to like the like 360 years.
Yeah.
Like back to the old horse and carriage days.
Right.
But listen, it's amazing, and it's an absolute honour to have you in the back of the cab. We've got your missus in the back of the cab as well. Big shout out to you. She's like on the old partition part there. And we are on the way to the Tate, and I'm going to show you around a few little sites of London as well. And first thing I want to do actually, Lee, is give a big shout out to the Woodbury House Gallery.
Yes.
For, you know, supporting your show. I want to give them, first of all, their props.
Well, I think I have to even sort of beat them to the punch and announce that Tamara Warren is in the house with me here, and she's been very instrumental in keeping things smooth going with this show, along with Woodbury, alongside being the editor, one of the editors in the book.
Wow.
You know, 50 years and beyond. So, yeah, so the Woodbury House, I can't salute them enough for being such great chaps, you know, lads, if you might say, out here, that have been running the show very professional and been nothing but amazing, their space and all. So they have a good calling of a good London calling of good people coming to their space, so I'm happy to be here.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And anyone watching this, the gallery is on Sackville Street, which is off Piccadilly. And as I say, a big shout out to Woodbury House. I wanted to get that in. And also a big shout out to Charlie Ahern from WILDSTYLE. It's a shame we couldn't get Charlie, you know, in the cab like both of you, because that would have been incredible. I had some amazing questions for Charlie as well. But you know, I know you guys are so busy. I mean, also Lee, you know, you're kind of beginning to lose your voice. You've been non-stop, innit? Like doing interviews, and it's been a crazy time, but something you probably absolutely love doing.
Yes. I mean, I love people in general, you know, and I love exchanging ideas and memories and things of such, and also experiencing the moment, right? So I know we just passed the National Gallery, am I right?
Yeah, on the left, you got Nelson's Column, Trafalgar Square on the left there.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and I love the lions there. I've walked by here. I've been walking through here a few times over the evenings and stuff.
Well, those four lions were actually made of bronze, and they was made of the cannons melted down from the Battle of Trafalgar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the top of there is Nelson's Column, and Horatio Nelson, the Admiral, was basically in charge of the Royal Navy that, you know, went to battle.
Oh,
so it's steeped with historical facts all around this area.
Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
It really is. But let's go back to you know, with you, Lee, like growing up. You're obviously from was it Smith Projects in Brooklyn?
Yes, no, the Alfred E. Smith Projects were located in the lowest part of Manhattan, right in the shadow of the iconic Brooklyn Bridge. So if you want to reference that, it's like being across the street from the London Bridge here. The projects, which was rather strange to have such a complex next to such an iconic you know, staple of New York. But yeah, those are the projects that I grew up in. And
you know, the era you was growing up in, New York, man, it was tough. It was no joke. But there's high unemployment rate there. Yes. It was very grimy and gritty. You know, you had quite a few gangs: Imperial Bachelors, Black Spades, Savage Nomads, Savage Skulls. But one thing it must have been was quite electric. It must have had a lot of soul and flavour to it.
Sure. I mean, there was a lot of challenging. Around every corner there was a challenge, right?
Yeah.
You had to get very savvy, very street smart and sharp to be able to navigate those kind of waters, choppy waters, if you might say, and maybe even still waters were more deadly, you know. You know, I learned very quickly to hang with the players in the street, some of them with checkered passes, but also to, you know, earn their respect and their friendships, and just, you know, just sort of read the room, and assess what's the best and the smartest way to either sort of mingle and rub shoulders or make that quick exit stage left.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the New York of the day.
I mean, you know, I looked at books when it first came out in 1984, like your Subway Arts, and first time I see someone putting up a tag on a wall was a film called The Warriors. When I see that in 1980 or whenever that come out, with Rembrandt putting the W up on the wall.
Sure.
And seeing those trains, It was an incredible time, and we was like, coming from London and the UK, you know, we really wanted to go over there because we was getting that bug as well. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So for you to see that, being surrounded by that, when was the first kind of, you know, graffiti you was seeing before you picked up a cam? Would it have been like some of the early, obviously the 1960s writers?
Yeah, definitely. Some of the relics, you know, whatever was, whoever was still operating in early 1972 is probably what I got exposed to. I can honestly say that I didn't get exposed to the golden line of the number 2 and 5 till later on, but I was being exposed to the BMT and IND lines because those are the lines that my parents were traveling. You know, they didn't have a car in the household, so we used the IND, the independent line, and the Brooklyn Manhattan transit lines, and that's when I started to see these little pockets of color and personalities on the sides of cars. As early as 1971, 72, at 11, 12 years old, not knowing that 2 years later I would be part of that whole contingent of young souls that were trying to create self-agency and self-worth and self-recognition and preservation. So I was more than happy to keep my ears perked and maybe listen to that room much more closely because it was all new to me. So I was probably seeing, you know, the early pioneers like Tier and Uncle John and all those guys, and Duke 9 and all those guys way back in the early days, and Coco and Snake 3 and Snake 1 and all those guys. So it was amazing. It was palpable, you know, if you want to say. It was just a really great feeling to be part of a young community trying to bring change on their own.
Oh, without a doubt, and big shout out to obviously UA, Mike 171, Snake, and Henry, and all them lot. You know, it was such a great time for art on the trains as well. And would you say when you was going out there, putting your mark on these big, huge steel trains? Was that getting you away in some respects from some of the madness that was going on? Did you feel like, you know, you was being really creative and it was, you know, putting you on like a more of a straighter kind of path?
Yeah, I think art in general was going to steer me away inevitably down the road. It's just that those vessels, as I call them, were so immediately in your face that how could you not be, you know, conduct yourself in a different way like I did myself to create that dialogue and create a new narrative within that group of painters to do incredible mural type related work and change the direction of where it was going. So whichever way I look at it, I think the arts and being creative with my hands and with my mind and with my words was going to steer me in a different direction. It just happened that was so in your face. It was a center stage scenario, and I utilized it, and I realized very early on, as early as late 1975, that I could steer the ship in a different direction. And mind you, in 1975, 1976, which is the epic moment, the inflection moment where there's a knowledge of an incredible palette of colors and incredible influence from popular culture, influence from popular magazines, advertisements, the music scene. All of this is all happening in New York because you're looking at the center of New York being the center of entertainment and also the center of publicity. Everything is there at your disposal. So at some point I was going to make new strides. You know, I just was a creative since I was 5 years old. And I was always reading the rooms everywhere I was going. So I think that really did save my life. There were very strong influences Lots of my friends made the wrong decisions. They weren't necessarily bad people. I know bad people. I know evil, such as I do now in the political spectrum, you know, but I know good people that just made bad decisions. And that's fine, because unfortunately it changed their lives in a very dreadful way. But when they realized and restored themselves and recomposed themselves, the goodness in them shine through. You can't eclipse goodness. And I know I'm a good person, but I was doing things in a very unorthodox way. So no one could tell me that I was a bad person, especially a sinner, since the day of being born, and because I knew spiritually that I'm a good person.
No, you are, and it reflects in a lot of the work you created on those, you know, them steel trains. I mean, you know, stop the bomb, wasn't it?
Stop the Bomb.
I mean, that was such an important train. I mean, that must have had a big impact on people seeing that train and then photographs of that train. It was such an important message. It really was. Sure.
It was a big impact. What was most important is that it was a big impact on my peers, on my contemporaries. And I knew that I was steering the whole conversation in a different direction at that point. And that's 1979. So nearing the end of my, would say, all-city campaign, you know. But I knew that I was speaking to a group of, a very committed, convicted group of individuals, young individuals, that wanted to bring a whole new conversation. They just didn't know how to, because, you know, you got to remember, you have to differentiate what is style and what is flash and glamour and glitter and all, to what is the fundamentals of a movement. How do you keep a movement moving on and not staying marooned on one thought and one practice? So that was my thing, and still is. The works in the show, the best thing that I heard last night, coming from different individuals that did not know each other, that were out of the circle of painters that attended, all said the same thing. I never expected to see what I'm seeing here, and it's so diverse, and that's all I need to hear. That the conversation is never the same in one place and one time. That my work does change. It could change from 1 minute to the other. And I love that, because that's what life is all about. Any given moment, anything can begin or end and be upended in this classical mess. So as I call it. And so just, you know, I tune into that. I keep my finger on the pulse of society at any given moment, because that's what informs me. That's my muse. Different societies, different cultures, different, a little bit of everything always informs me. And I feel that I don't want to arrest people and just keep them fixated on one moment and only my word. I want to be able to have a conversation with people, an exchange of information through my work.
In terms of you know, your trains as well, Lee, what was that like back in the day, man? That must have been like a little bit like a military operation, or was it all kind of relaxed because there was no CCTV and not as much barbed wire around to get into the yard? Was it a bit more kind of relaxed back then? No,
I wouldn't call it relaxed. I think it's a different kind of madness, chaoticness, and you just adapt to your times, right? So I did operate in a sort of very regimented, methodical way. Maybe some may say military. I like to say ninja. You know, medieval Japanese ninja culture, and I've always been fascinated by that. I appreciated their I would say their disciplinary practices, and also their stealthiness, just to not only to not to be apprehended, but also to sort of capture something, another part of the aura of creating something, whether it's creating havoc or not, creating beauty or not, you want to preserve the moment of the process. And I always was more afraid of being not necessarily apprehended, but disturbed in the middle of the process, the middle of creation. And that's where my good spirit comes from, because I understood that I was creating a dialogue and a feeling and a vibe that would be very special. And I would hate to see that I would hate to see that you got this, you got it, yeah.
Well, Lee, you know what you and quite a few of the other artists back then were creating with the with what you had. You know, the paint back then wasn't, obviously, it's not as good as what it is now. You didn't really have the nozzles that you've got now, the cam pressures and all this stuff. So what you guys were creating, and not guys, women as well, was unbelievable on them trains. They were like real kind of masterpieces. And what you was going through to put them on the train as well. These are like huge steel trains, and like maybe you was going in there at night, you're surrounded by electric. So these yards are dangerous, aren't they, Lee? They're not like, no joke.
Very austere, mysterious, dark spaces. Within a dark city, mind you. I mean, they sometimes, call it the city that never sleeps. But, in those times, it was literally dark. And, very, very challenging spaces that you needed to respect. And I always respected where I operated. And that's what kept me intact for all those years. Because again, like I said, this was not a wanton, this was not some kind of wanton act of vandalism, as many politicians at the time were trying to sell it as. These were acts of worship, acts of worship to a culture, creating something from nothing. And I wanted to continue that in a serial way. So creating work, because I'm developing as I'm going. You can't develop in one act. You develop as you go, as you walk through your journey, just as life. Again, right? Everything is learned in a process. It's learned through time. It's learned through experiences and exchanges, and such was the case in those in that sort of subterranean theater. So
was it a real kind of like a buzz going in there, Lee? It must have been like a real kind of like a natural high going in there and doing what you was doing.
Yeah, I mean, my high wasn't about getting over on the municipalities and taunting them, because I was respectful of the massive force of police presence and the police attention to this, which is ironic, because I'm like, wow, there were much more things, as they always say, that they could have, focused on. But I was really, it was an urgent time. It was a time that I needed to assert my presence, my existence. I just heard that word the other day from a young lady at the Freeze Arts Fair. She said, I want to have existence. And I was like, wow. So we all operate with that need, with that necessity of having existence. Even if you're whether you're in the political spectrum or you're in the workforce, in the arts, whatever, you need to plant that flag of existence, because we're all very loud. Everything is very, especially now with the availability of too much information. You have this sense of everything comes and goes so fast, you don't even know what you've experienced.
It's so true, isn't it?
It is.
Just moves within a split second. It's like, wow.
Within a split second, things are old news or no news anymore. And how do you digest that? If so, how do you digest something that you haven't been able to have given the chance to understand the culture behind it, the history, the blood, sweat, and tears behind it? It's phenomenal. And I don't know if I'm wrong in this, but I think that we're just like taxi cabs in New York City. they're all racing to get to the red light. And I'm like, you have to stop at some point, buddy. I'm sorry. So why rush to the red light? You're going through your brakes and you're going through a lot of stress for unnecessary, you know, so.
You can easily lose it within a split second.
Sure. And I'm getting the read back. I always say this, I'll keep the light on for you. Because I always lay in the cut. I lay in the shadows like I did back then. And I just wait for things to come to fruition. Like great art always comes to fruition. It always arrives at the time that it needs to, that it has to, that it will, no matter what. So, you know, here's it, you know, going to the show that I've created for this particular show. It is an art that is a combination of many things that come. It's an inflection point, but it's also an inflection point outside, but inside where my work is at. If it's all fruition, it's come to a moment, an intersection where those two things meet, and they have a new conversation, a relevant conversation in this moment right now, without thinking much about the future or the past, but let's just talk right now and have a conversation.
And talk about the now.
'Cause I don't think we know how to talk anymore.
We don't.
You and I are talking right now. It's
we
great.
love this.
I love it.
I talk all day long with my passengers, literally all day long.
Yes.
Like, as soon as I leave the house, pick my first fare up, we are having a conversation, and I love it.
Yeah.
You know, where other people, they're kind of in their phones and like they're not talking. Do you know what I mean? And they're shut behind closed doors. They're not coming out.
Right.
Back then, it seemed to be a lot more free. You know, you was out there on the playing field and like, you know, playing like ball or whatever, like on the street. Do you know what I mean? But nowadays, you're all kind of closed in behind your front door.
Right.
So it's a different era now, isn't it?
It's a different era, and that's why, going back to your other question, that things they had their own sort of dangerous script at that time, and you know, now it's dangerous in a different way. Maybe it's more, I think the danger now is exposure and
political danger as well, and mental torture via what's going on around the world.
Exactly, because everything has now been center staged, where everyone on the globe is aware, and they're aware of what's going on, to the point where they are aware of things they don't even understand.
Because it's so in your face as well, isn't it, Lee? It's like, as soon as you put your phone on, it's like doom and gloom, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, you know, and you could try your best, your dandiest to try to you know, just keep that, circumvent all that stuff, but it's almost like we've been spoon fed at first, and now we're being force fed to basically accept all this information, even if it's irrelevant to what you're thinking of. And you know, if you're at the beach, you shouldn't be worried about what's going on in the cyber world. You should be at the beach,
enjoying and relaxing,
enjoying that moment. That's the human.
Instead of looking at your phone and getting sucked into all this negative madness.
Yeah, because it's all superficial. It's not even, you know, even though it has to do with our existence, it just seems to be drawing you out of the real moment of experience and even self-reflection. You know, so I like to, you know, some of my peaceful moments are in the shower. Just taking a long hour shower.
Just time to like chill and you know, unwind.
Tone it down.
Yeah, tone it down.
Because
you know, Lee, do you know what? You'd make an amazing cab driver, by the way. You've got the gift of the cab as well. You'd be a brilliant cabbie. We should get you in London in a black cab. You'll be a brilliant cabbie. You're absolutely brilliant.
Here we are at the Tate.
We are at the Tate. So what we're doing, we're going to like switch the cameras off for 2 seconds. Lee's got to go into the Tate, have a little meeting, and then we'll rock a part 2 in a sec.
Yes,
Lee's
yes. My lovely wife,
part
Tamara.
1. Amazing part 1.
Okay.
Right, let me jump out and quickly see you. Right.
So I'm going to leave these markers with you.
Of course you can. Yeah. I won't use them.
Are you going to do a fair after this, or are you just like loitering?
You're going to give me what, half an hour?
Okay. Yeah.
No, I'll wait here, man. I'll wait here.
Great. You might get you might get people like, hey, can you take me here?
No, I will do, but I'll be like, no, sorry, I'm booked.
I'll give you this.
Listen,
I'll leave it back
I know
here.
this is all a bit different, but
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know it's real.
Yeah.
I'm a real cab driver.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm not
it's amazing.
You know.
It's amazing. I love it. I love the
Oh,
vibe, man.
Oh, actually, I've got to get the mic off you. Let me
Oh,
get the
yeah,
mic.
right.
Otherwise, I'll pick up on your conversation in the tea. It's
Live
so
mic.
funny.
Live mic.
Let's rock the tea, and then we'll get moving.
All right. Thank you. You got the whole kitchenette there.
I got the Lee. Look, we're not playing out here. This is like, listen, this is the real deal. We got the tea, we got the scones.
My wife, I rarely drink tea.
Yeah.
Tamara here loves her coffee and her tea, and more accustomed to that culture than I ever been.
Oh, you like the
than I
tea?
ever could be.
Well, listen, I've also got the bone. It's called the bone china, which is the proper, the proper cups.
The
Proper cups, like the bone china.
Oh right, the cups. Yes.
Like it's not, we're not scrimping and saving out here. This is the real deal. When you come to the London iconic cab, you get treated like royalty.
Yes. So tell me, the Tate building, is it itself an old building? Look at this. This is beautiful.
Here we go, my man. Yeah. You got to have the proper
That's
bone.
fine.
You got to have the proper bone.
You have to have china because it makes the taste different.
Right.
Makes it taste nicer.
Also, I love the sound that they
Yeah,
I've
my
got
cousin in Australia is very like, you need china.
Yeah.
You can't have just,
make. Right.
some.
It's also a
Right.
great, it's a great sound as well, isn't it? With the old
Yes.
chinging of the china.
Yeah, I love that.
I've got some
Yum.
nice biscuits. Have you ever tried Jaffa cakes?
No.
Because with a Jaffa cake, you don't know whether it's a biscuit or a cake.
Right.
It's got like a little chocolate top.
Okay.
Right, if you leave them over there, Lee, and
Oh,
then
these are wonderful.
they're nice. They've got like a marmalade. Mm-hmm. They're nice.
Oh yeah, they're really
Never
good.
had these.
Yeah, I
never had these.
JVC force in the cab, and I they tested that custard creams, which is another iconic, biscuit. You like them?
They're good.
Let me get
They're
you.
really good.
I've got another pack, and then we get rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, those are really good. Thank you so much.
As I say, it's a blessing and an honour to have you in the both in the cab.
Thank you for having us.
So we're going. We're going to go in for the part 2 as we're on the way to the to the palace.
Okay.
So Lee, within your art and the trains you was doing and the murals you was doing, you had a very important message alongside the piece. One of them messages was graffiti is art. If art is a crime, please God forgive me. Those messages really stood out to us as kids reading that. So it wasn't just about your masterpiece, it was also about the message.
Sure. I've always thought that poetry and visuals go hand in hand and they both inform each other. That was my proclamation, that I had realized that I had arrived as an artist and that this movement had arrived as an art movement. And that there was no more time to be wasted in the entertainment of just our names, but that if you chose to just think about your name, that there is something bigger than just your name, and that there is something more that you could contribute through the channels of art, whether it's visual painting art, poetry, dance, because everything comes in different places and spaces by different faces, right? And it didn't necessarily have to come through the age-old art form of painting. It could come through sculpture. It could come through a number of channels, and hence, the oldest form of the new school, the new New York school, is the painting on the walls. And then you start to, and the music is infused in there, and then the style and the fashion, and then you have the MCs that come through.
On that hip hop thing, via the Zulu Nation.
It just spawned the idea that you could create your own theater and your own agency to have a voice in a very loud city. So,
and staying on that hip hop vibe, Lee, was obviously graffiti and graph was going on before hip hop was around. But the Zulu Nation in 1973, when that was set up, it kind of brought in the elements all together. And obviously graffiti was under that umbrella. That was one of the first pillars. Did you also dabble at a bit of like b-boying, breaking, popping, or any of those, a bit of DJing or MCing?
I witnessed it more than I dabbled, you know, like in the actual physicalities of it. And you know, I'm still amused by music of that time and now. I go all over the place with my music sets, but I was particularly very fond of the funk and soul, early funk and soul, Motown sound, rock and roll, which pretty much was sort of out of the, you know, rock and roll. You can never combine that with breakdancing, which, you know, at that time was called burning. Lots of people don't know that breakdancing in its very infant stages was called burning.
Taking it to the floor.
Short for burning you off stage. So it was all performative art in a sense, and dating back to Zulu African cultures, you know, being in rhythm with the African beat, the drum, and that how that moves everyone across the circles. Sort of not announcing, but answering back to that drum beat, which is unmistakably moving. And it also moves you in different ways. It moves you spiritually as well. And
100%.
You know, you could date back to the acrobatic dances of African culture. And, you know, we just ran through the Nigerian modernism show here at the Tate, and it was amazing. It was just like going back to that information, that you know, that conversation, going back to that. And it's wonderful to see that. That's why I love museums, though I've never had a museum show myself, ironically. And
well,
maybe
you need one. I went to one over in Holland. It was called the Straat Museum.
Yes,
It had
yes.
some amazing art in there, from street art to graffiti art. You know, it was an incredible venue, the Straat.
Yeah,
I was
right.
blown away.
Which
was
which
like the
means
Tate.
the streets,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an amazing space. I saw it when they were doing the construction of it a while back. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, going back to that phrase, I knew I had arrived that evening, or rather that morning, as an artist, as a painter. And the irony of it is that, you know, we as a collective were calling ourselves writers because that's what we were doing. But, you know, we never thought about the idea that this would be, could be, should be art. And it was. I recognized it very early on. That's why as early as 1975, early 76, I wanted to create a narrative within ourselves as the group to talk about that we are creating something beautiful for a very ugly time, during a very ugly time, and that this is the way we're able to recover and rediscover ourselves. That's the way it happened for me, through actually working towards the using the levers of, you know, this is about art, and art can come in many different temperatures and many different ways, so, and styles, right? That was my approach to it. And that wall, the Howard the Duck wall, changed the course of history, possibly, arguably, the course of art history global wise, because now you have a global art movement.
That was in 78, wasn't it, Lee?
1978.
That was incredible. Yeah,
Yes.
and your other one as well that you done with the lion on the handball court. That was another iconic mural.
Yes, that you know, I would say that the Lion's Den, as it's called, which was created in 1980, one of 6 or 7 handball wall murals. I mean, you know, going back, that's a very interesting question. I mean, you know, creating a wall of that size, that magnitude, composing it, and you know, creating composition, the idea of composition in such a wild style way, it was breathtaking and both groundbreaking.
It was mind blowing.
1978.
How on earth did you paint? Did you have like ladders?
I had a ladder. I had a ladder and cojones, just as I told Keith Haring when he asked me, the late great Keith Haring. That's when I realized that it was a very special event. That he said, how did you do that? Because he was so mesmerized by it and possibly paralyzed, because that stopped everyone in their tracks and said, wait a minute, what just happened here?
That was a head turner.
It was outside of the operating theater of the subways. So all of a sudden this new conversation starts outside of the subways. So it was a moment of redeeming the idea that let's not get away from ourselves and paint this as just some passing fad, by a bunch of lads that just want to be bad, because that's passé, that's something that, comes and goes and it's yesterday's news. But let's make new news. Let's make breaking news.
That was, Lee, that was one of the groundbreakers, without a shadow of a doubt. And where did the idea of the lion come from?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a triple Leo in the signs of...
Leo the lion.
I am Leo the lion, but I'm also triple sun, moon, and rising. So it's a whole mess. But it's fine. I'm proud of it.
And that's why you love London and England, because we got that lion vibe going on.
There you go. Rome, Italy.
Yeah,
lion.
the lion thing going.
In Hong Kong, lions are very... So, king of any jungle.
Yeah.
Right? But, I wanted that wall was an experiment. That wall was an experiment in two phases. 1980 was when it was created. 1982 was when I created the first ever mural with spray paint without the emphasis on having an outline, because I felt that outlines were a way of regressing back to like cartoon, drawing and defining something by an outline. We're not outlined. There's no outline around my skin here. What's outlining my skin is contrast. Contrast to what's behind me, what's in front of me. So shadow and light and temperature. So I was fooling around with temperature, light, depth of field, all that, and using colors that were not celebrated in the scene at that time, like khaki greens and grays and different shades of black. I just saw a beautiful piece last night by Kerry James Marshall that, well, I'm not sure when it was done, maybe even relatively new, where it's all black. And I'm like, I was thinking about that in 1978, 79.
Wow.
I wanted to create a subway car that was different shades of, different hues, temperatures, whatnot, of black. Flat black, satin black, eggshell black, gloss black. And in the black, created in the black. So,
but the thing is, back then, Lee, back then, the range of colours were quite limited. Like, as I said earlier, it's not like today where you could probably get every single shade and colour and nozzle under the sun. So you was kind of limited to the colours and so for you to create that kind of masterpieces with what you had,
yes,
it really is mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing. The palette was short, yes. The paint quality was amazing, yes. But then quickly, by the late 1970s, the three major companies that were very instrumental in the movement, mind you, I was experimenting with many different companies, Saplin being one of them, that was created right there in Brooklyn. Other Wet Look and Wet Paint, which was two different other companies which had very great formula, a lot of great pigment. But Rust-Oleum, Red Devil, and Krylon were the three best choices and the most accessible. And they created the whole palette together. They slept on the sleeping giant, because the sleeping giant is where we're at right now as a global art movement. And one of the best sellers in any art store that you walk into anywhere in the world is spray paint. I'll give you a little history, not to indulge in it for long. I was the first one bringing spray paint from Europe with a whole new different palette, because I discovered all the new palette in Italy and Germany.
Did you ever discover the Buntlack?
That's the first paints I was bringing.
The Buntlack was incredible. Yeah, that was a game changer for us in London. The Buntlack was like the paint, like around, I think it was like 85, 86. That's when things started to change in London, where we could use the bunt lack.
I was using bunt lack, which I still have a few cans of it. Actually, the company was called Marabou. And bunt lack was like the name. It was like indicating spray paint or whatever. I brought that back from Italy, where you could get it, though it was created in Germany. So when I brought that back, dudes were on the trains were like, hey, where'd you get that? Or the paintings that I was creating at the time on canvas, guys were like, where'd you get that lavender? Where'd you get that hue of kumquat orange?
And the lilacs and the blues.
Beautiful. Like, you could get 20 shades of blue. Whereas in New York, we had maybe 5 with a combination of 3 different companies. Baby blue, marlin blue, delta blue, navy blue, and that's it. Empire blue. All right, so maybe 6 or 7. Yeah, 20 plus shades. So it opened up our palette, my appetite, my menu. And when, you know, a little unknown secret is that writers were like, where'd you get that? I was like, oh yeah, go to 42nd Street and Woolworths or Lamston's there, and they have a bunch of it. It was a complete lie. I was diverting attention because I discovered something new and I was still experimenting with it. And I wanted to be the first, and I was. Because I was the first in Europe, along with Frederick Brathwaite, otherwise known as Fat Five Freddy, to create a show with graffiti-based art in Rome, Italy, 1979.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow. What history. But without a shadow of a doubt, Lee, you know, that bunt lack changed things up. I mean, artists like, you know, Goldie, big up to Goldie, big up to Mode 2, Chrome Angels, Trailblazers, Pride. Tough Arts. I mean, there's Artful Dodger. There were so many that I could name. But that bunt lack was a game changer for us.
The tools of the trade, right? You can't do the job right with the wrong tools. You have to have all the tools accessible, all the arms of, what would you say, as they say in the States, all options are on the table, which means a lot of trouble. But for us, all options were there, what you could discover and recover. Because most of these brands of paint were sitting on shelves for years. And I ran into problems with some of them because they were sitting for years. They were dormant. So, you know, you re-trigger them into society, and some of the paints did not work in the middle of a masterpiece. So, you know, there's a lot of logistics that you had to fight through during that time. But when I brought them back here,
it was a game changer.
It was a game changer for me personally, because then I could adapt, you know, and think about, case in point, the Lions Den handball wall, which was the 3rd wall out of 6 or 7 walls that I created during the 80s, was it basically it was a bleed off of my discovery of the bunt lack and auto K paints here in Europe. So I adapted very quickly. Like, oh my God, I have different shades of a olive drab green. Who thinks of that? Because when you have to put into perspective, you're painting in the dark, and you're trying to create something with light, something with substance, something colorful and cheerful in a very dark time, dark city. And in reverse, now I'm painting on canvas, and I'm going back to the dark with the hues, and I'm painting on a handball wall slab, a tablet, whatever you may call it, with something outside in the elements where there is light, literally. But I'm creating, I want to go back to the dark, and that probably stems from my love for black and white photography. I love black and white.
Me too. Annie Leibovitz, and I mean, there's so many great photographers.
It's an amazing temperature reading, because when you see black and white photographs from the 20s and 30s and 50s, you could almost tell what time of day it is.
Totally.
Or night. And you could tell the tone of people, and it's just this beautiful definition. Like I said, outlines. I'm outlined by this white, this olive, you know, this bone white structure here in your cab, and there is no outline, there's no... So I wanted to sophisticate the conversation of, like, let's not paint like we're painting, in all due respect to cartoons and animation, you know, but let's paint with the idea and also the acknowledgement of your surroundings.
you was really changing the game up. In terms of talking of the artwork and talking of music, some of those 70s albums and vinyl, the record covers and the picture discs on some of those vinyl were incredible. From the Commodores, Sly and the Family Stone, the Iron Maiden, Eddie character. I mean, did some of them? Did you must have loved looking at some of them album covers.
I loved all the album cover art back in the day. Something that we are missing so much nowadays. 100%. But a lot of, like, you know, Johnny Pape album covers. We should try to scoot really quick to the gallery. I see Big Ben in the distance there. Yeah. Drive like a New York cabbie.
Foot on the gas. I'm giving you the green. We haven't even gotten to the drag car racing yet.
My God, I'm giving you the green light to go through the red.
Brilliant.
And if the police stop you, just say, blame the New Yorker in the back
seat. Blame the New Yorker. It's Lee's fault.
That's right. We need to get there.
But yeah, those album covers were incredible. You know.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I looked at a lot of album covers. Isaac Hayes album covers, like I said, Johnny Pape,
Funkadelic.
But Parliament. Even before that, I was looking at album covers that related to movie scores, music scores.
Lee, please don't get me started on this stuff. Please.
Oh my God, Shaft in Africa.
You get me started on the movie scores.
Enter the Dragon. I mean, all the Lalo Schifrin. You know, all these amazing composers. You know, Herman Kelly. You know, even Dennis Coffey. You know, Scorpio from Detroit. Like, you see all that beautiful either photography or, you know, rendered art. It just I related to that on the subways, advertisements, and going back and forth with underground comics like Mad Magazine, Frank Frazetta, you know, Frazetta drawings and paintings, all that stuff. So it was all informative. It all came in different, you know, because people like the way we experience art is in different senses. Using different senses, whether it's visual, first and foremost, it's visual. But then also, and it could be also sense of hearing and sense of smelling. And that's the beauty about what happened on the subways back then, that you could hear the noise of those erratic structures. Yeah, Big Ben. I walked through here the other night, actually. I've been here like a week ago. I was like, yeah, what's up, Big Ben? And you know what I love about Big Ben? It's all mechanical.
It is.
There's not one thing there that's electronic.
Exactly.
Yeah, baby!
And Big Ben, you know, Big Ben was built in 1843. It was named after the Chief Commissioner, Ben Hall, aka Big Ben. The clock face is made of thousands of pieces of individual bits of glass. And there's one bell. The bell is called Big Ben, but there's also four. Only
which
one.
Is the one we hear right now?
Yeah.
I just heard one.
Yeah, I just heard.
Yeah. That was the time bell.
So that's the one Big Ben, but there's also 4 other smaller bells in there as well, 4 other chimes to make the one sound.
Right, I just heard, it sounded like it was a multiple, like a concerto of bells.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and the bell doesn't move, it's stationary, and it's got like a hammer that hits the bells.
It's amazing.
So it doesn't actually move.
That. I love that. That's humanity right there.
Apparently the first bell plays the G, the second bell plays, I think it's F, the third bell plays the E, and the fourth bell plays a B.
Wow.
You know, so it's like it's all kind of in tune with this kind of chime.
Right. Amazing.
It really is. I really wish I could take you on, you know, but I know we're rushed for time, man.
Yeah, we're rushing.
I know.
I got a bunch of interviews.
I know, and we'll have to rock a part 2 when you come back to London, Lee, because I've got so much more to ask. But but those album covers are inspirational without a doubt.
I'm sure I'm coming here with something different next time, and we can follow up on a part 2.
We've got to do a part 2.
Because it'll definitely be different. I can tell you that right now.
Let's quickly talk about the Fabulous 5. I mean, Graph Crew, absolutely legendary. Yeah. You had obviously Fab Five Freddy, Mono.
No. I'll correct you on that. First and foremost, the original Fabulous 5 was 5 of us. Yeah. And it was Mono, as you was mentioning.
Yeah. Was it Doc 109?
Doc 109. Dirty Slug
Dirty
335.
Slug, yeah, what a name.
Dirty Slug, what a name. Slave,
yeah.
and myself. That was the core group painting on the trains. But the core group itself was created and founded by OG2 and Dirty Slug, because they were they were childhood friends who were part of the Black Spades, mind you, back in the day.
Yeah.
So, and
what
Doc
were they,
was,
Black Baby Spades or Young Spade? Or
they were the Black Spades.
They were the older.
Yeah.
The older, yeah.
Yeah, they were the old. So, you know, that was the core group there. And then Fred Brathwaite was coined Fat Fat Freddy by Debbie Harry of Blondie during when we were creating the dialogue, not the dialogue, the sort of like she was creating the Rapture lyrics for the iconic hit Rapture. You know, Fat Fat Freddy told me everybody's fly. You know, like it just flows, and she did such a phenomenal job. You know, Flash is cool, Flash is fly. You know, it's amazing. It's an amazing time. So it's a beautiful. So, you know, I mean, all kudos to Fat Fat Freddy years later, but the core group, who are by chance all alive, myself included, were instrumental as a group, as a collective, and as I sort of navigated them to a practice that I was planning on my own. It's like, practice the art of the whole car. Practice the art of making this art.
Oh, it was incredible. And you know, Dirty Slug. I mean, what a name.
So the five of them, I'll say Mono 105.1. That was his serial number, 105.1. Doc 109, Dirty Slug 335, Slave 1, Lee. Lee, just Lee, my middle name. So
that's right, because your first name's George, isn't it?
Jorge.
Yeah.
Corrected is Jorge Lee.
Right.
Jorge Lee, yeah. So, but OG and Dirty Slug early on created the group. OG2, Octavius Glenn.
How did Dirty Slug get his name though? Do you know?
He has a pass. Dirty Slug is he's an interesting guy. Really sharp, articulate, interesting fellow.
Yeah.
And
absolute legendary as well.
Always on my sleeve, you know, all those guys. I wouldn't be with anyone else other than those guys on my side in any kind of conflict.
Absolute legends.
You know, yes.
And you know, writer's bench. Did you you know, go to the writer's bench? Did you have a writer's bench?
Well, I wrote a lot of writer's benches, and I made a painting called Benchmark. That's in a major collection in New York, a private collection, you know, that has never been seen in New York.
Wow.
So that's a painting about that time, that hole where most of us can we speed it up just to get it?
Yeah, we're literally five minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes?
Yeah,
can you tell?
yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, we're around the corner.
Well, the Fabulous Five, you know, we painted for less than 5 years. Painted on the number 5. We were all from the 5 boroughs. It was all a magical number. It's my favorite number. It's one of the most complicated numbers. And you know, interesting fellows. I like I said, I was in the trenches with them. Before I met them, I was a solo, more or less solo, and after them I was solo, and I was the only one that kept on painting. But recently Slave has come out of retirement, and
yeah, they're absolute legends.
Yeah.
And you know, there were so many great artists. You know, Blade, Scene, Dondi. I mean, did you personally have a few favourite pieces that you actually loved to look at as well from back then?
Well, I was very moved by Cliff 159's Peanuts they call it the Peanuts car. Peanuts character, Charlie Brown old car, that was iconic. Also his very iconic Silver Surfer, top to bottom, a number of pieces. Blade's Dancing Girls, Blade 1's Dancing Girls, another, you know,
iconic
piece. Blade's Dance Band, you know, all these things. And Blade was very much involved with music. had his own band at the time, sort of underground experimental rock band. A number of characters that really, but nowadays I'm very much moved by artists of my contemporary circles. Gerhard Richter is one of my favorite painters. Michelin Thomas, Hank Willis Thomas, Derek Adams, all these amazing artists that are operating right now in the new Western canon, that are speaking what I would speak about if I was painting on trains. When people ask me, where's the graffiti? I was like, it's everywhere. It's a state of mind. It's not a thing. It's not a writing on the wall. It's the state of mind. It's the way you approach things. And my work on canvas or whatever it is, a sculpture, is graffiti in attitude. So we have to get that straight, because people think that we can revert back to that time, and that time is gone. Or maybe it's still there, but it's very different now.
What do you think? I mean, there's also sometimes a little bit of friction between like a street artist and a graffiti artist.
That's something, that people that are trying to put them in a package, compartmentalizing. Can never say that word. So y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they're trying to put things in compartments so that they could be more manageable and maybe even more exploitable, and also in some in cases of just the selling point, right? So people are trying to define, this is a movement that doesn't necessarily rest on, I don't like to rest on my laurels of the past. I like to, be unrest.
And keep moving forwards.
Yeah, I'm moving forward, man. I'm not just kicking. I'm not kicking a can down the street and wondering what I'm about. I know what I'm about, and I'm about to bring some. I'm about to bring it. So, and that's my boasting side of things. But I'll keep it to myself, because I have to. That's the only way I can really. I work in secrecy with my art, because my art is in secrecy, and because I have to manage it myself. So, going back to like this friction, I don't even think it really exists. That's, academia, working with people that have learned on their own skills on the streets or wherever they may be operating. So I don't think they're much different from each other. And I think one is probably trying to sound more articulate and maybe more sophisticated, and the other is trying to keep it real. And I understand both sides of that story, just like humanity. It's complicated. We're all products of our hypocrisy, right? So,
but we should be united as one. There shouldn't be that kind of division. Do you know what I mean? Just because you're a street artist or you're doing graph,
right? But you go back to art movements over the course of history, major art movements. I mean, the Dadaists were a result of like changing ground, scratching the needle across the, who knows if rap couldn't exist without Dadaism. Graffiti probably could not exist without Dada or Futurism, as controversial as that movement is. So all these movements are trying to coexist, but how can they coexist if they're not in the same time zone or under the same circumstances? Different world events, different doctrines, in effect. So the Futurists were part of the Industrial Revolution at the time, at the turn of the 20th century. Now we're in the 21st. We're in a whole new theater of operations.
Creative world, yeah.
We're in the technological revolution now, and moving fast.
Super fast, like we said earlier, just like within a split second. Very quickly, because we're around the corner from the gallery. Very quickly, WILDSTYLE. I mean, I've got so much to ask you. We must rock a part two. But anyway, WILDSTYLE, the name Zorro. Who come up with that name?
That was Charlie Ahern's. I'll speak for Charlie.
Big shout out to Charlie as well.
Big shout out.
Big Charlie, next time you're in London, we need you in this cab.
Oh, he's one of
Charlie!
Yeah,
we'll get you in.
Charlie was investigating my style of operating at that time, there was many characters throughout life. You know, I mean, Zorro is iconic, right?
But the look of Zorro and
right, but so is a ninja. So is a ninja. You know, I thought of it. You know, quite honestly, I would have picked the ninja, right? Because the ninja is mysterious to himself or herself, right? And it's the art, the art of stealth. You know, and whereas Zorro's masquerading himself, you know, and he's still out in society. The ninja was secretive throughout, thick and thin. And so he investigated the way I operated at that time, which is that's a story on its own, that I was under the radar, low frequency, not being loud about anything other than my work. And he loved the idea of creating the Zorro character based on my lifestyle.
Right.
So it was genius, and
it
connects with culture, popular culture, much faster and more relevantly than a ninja. Because to this day, people don't understand that culture and that atmosphere. So, you know, ancient Japanese culture, the samurai, you know, all that. It's an amazing thing, you know, happening in our lifetimes. But
and so it's on that ninja thing as well. Did you do a bit of martial arts, a bit of kung fu?
I did. I practiced kung fu for about 8 or so years.
Yeah, it's very popular, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, karate and judo was, and so was taekwondo and things like that. But I loved the art of Chinese boxing. I loved the art of. A young lady fell.
No, she's all right.
She's hurt.
I think she's all right. She had a little fall. She's all right.
Yikes.
Yeah, no, she's all right. She's up.
Yeah, so you know, I was very, and that kept me disciplined as well, kept me in great shape. Not that my painting standards didn't, the way I operated, but I was always in great shape. I feel like I'm in great shape, physically and mentally.
Oh, you are, without a doubt. I mean, like looking at you, Lee, I don't know what you put, you know, whether you use a moisturiser or I don't know what it is, but you know, you look like you don't look a day older than 40.
You know what's my...
How do you do it?
Thank you so much. You know what's my moisturizer?
What?
The hour shower.
Oh, is that what it is?
Just
what,
take a shower.
The cold one? The
water.
Cold one.
We're born surrounded by water.
No, but is it the cold shower?
Sometimes, but I like a warm shower.
Warmish.
Warm shower. Just warm thoughts, you know, just go through the paces of life.
I'm a bath man. I like to just go in the bath and just relax and switch off. Candles going and a bit of like burning of the candle, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's really, you go in a different mind space.
You do, and you know what? Water's healing. Because we're accustomed to it from the minute that we're conceived. We're in the water, in the womb. We're affected by water. We drive towards water. We built cities by water.
Yeah, it's true.
You know,
it's so true.
We want to be around water.
We should have come back as ducks. Yeah.
Maybe I'm Poseidon, you know, reincarnated or something. But but yet I love, you know, the fundamentals of life is water and fire. And I think we're here. It's on the next.
It's up on the left, isn't it?
Yeah, yes.
There was so much more to ask, but listen, man, I want to give a big RIP to my friend Patty Astor. Because I wanted to talk about the Fun Gallery. You know, she was a dear friend. We spoke often. I've known her for the past 15, 20 years.
Fantastic.
We absolutely love Patty. So I want to give a big shout out and a big RIP to Patty Astor. A lot of the other people we've lost along the way. And very quickly, Lee, where can people follow you? You know, what's your, you know, if they want to buy your new book, how can you get hold of your new book?
Yes, my new book, Lee Quinones, 50 Years of New York Graffiti Art and Beyond. Can be purchased right now immediately at the Woodbury House Gallery, but they can also go on 29 Sackville Street, where I'll be signing maybe about 100 copies, going really, really fast. But they can go onto Damiani's website and source it out through there. They're on Tamara, if you can bring me up to speed.
Yeah, they should be available through Thames and Hudson.
Yeah, through Thames and Hudson.
Thames and Hudson,
Anywhere you buy your books.
Anywhere you buy your books, you can order it and they'll get it for you. So amazing.
Well, we are literally around the corner from the gallery.
Yes, we are. And we'll probably get out wherever you can drop us.
I'm going to drop you outside. Literally going to.
Oh, outside. Oh, yeah, because you can make the left onto Sackville.
Yeah, and I can park around the corner. I'm going to pop in quickly. I know some big shout out to Don and Mo Sean and all them. They're coming down to see ya.
We could be here all day and giving shout outs to the living and not the living. The living, some of them unfortunately and tragically gone.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just I'm a bearer of the torch, carrying the torch for them in memory, but not also just memory as past, but memory that they're now part of the wind you feel on your face is the particles of people gone. You know, this is not just us going back into the earth, but being part of what surrounds the earth. I love, man, people are just so fly here. My man's so
He looks
dope.
good, doesn't he? Look at that. Look at that hat.
Oh, that hat. Oh, I would love to go shopping with him. My wife is one of the best shoppers in town. Oh, they close. Okay.
No, they will open.
Oh, my man was so.
We can jump out.
That was like Boy George and Grace Jones all together. Oh,
Styles for
I
miles.
would love to meet that man.
Lee, listen, man. We must rock a part 2 next time you're in town. Listen, I hope you enjoyed this little cab chat. It's something totally different, isn't it?
Yes.
And,
Yes. Thank you.
It was a real honour to meet you both. You know, meet you both in the cab. I'm going to park up there and swing by the gallery in a sec.
Sure. So we'll get out here because we have people to meet real quick.
Don't worry, Greg, give me the mic. Give me the mic.
Yes, I know, right? Your live mic, come on. Oh, they're letting us through.
Hold on.
You go right to the front. Yes.
Never mind. Oh.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, get the mic off. But listen, big shout out to everyone that's watched this.
Yes.
And please support Lee, buy his book because you know it's going to be absolutely on the epic levels. And Lee, we will definitely be meeting again, man, for part 2.
Yes,
because we are not finished.
Second volume coming out next year, 2026.
The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about the drag racing or the films or any of that.
We could talk about a lot.
Oh man, yeah. What?
All right.
Nice to meet you.
Nah, it's lovely to meet you. So I'm gonna pop in there in a bit.
Okay, cool.
You're right,
has
Lee.
been
Listen,
wonderful.
you're a legend, man. You're a legend. I hope you enjoyed that, man.
Thank you.
Did you want some more Jaffa cakes?
I got.
You got some?
Yeah,
I'm gonna see you a bit anyway. I'm gonna park up and I'll pop in.
Okay.
Oh, Dom, look, it's Lee. Look, we're coming to see you in a minute. Dom. Get parked up. Get parked up. We get the photos and don't worry. We get the photos and the
I love
signing.
you, man. You've done it.
Jump in and let me get parked up. The big Don, look, Don's down. You're on camera. Look at the Don. Let's do an interview. Let's do an interview.
Well, look, we are just ecstatic. Well done. That's beautiful.
Oh, you know, like, Lee, one second, let me shut my door because it's all been a bit kind of, legendary. I think the cameras are still rolling.
It's really, really important because it's 40 years. And you've just done the rounds.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Riverside Studios, 40 years. And thank you, NYC. Thank you, Lee, for the inspiration. We added the creativity in London from the book, which I've got 2. I've got one for Lee and I've got one for yourself.
Oh, Dom, man, you don't have to do this.
No, absolutely. But look, it's capulated. You know, it's got 40
Seriously?
years of history in there.
I remember that piece. I remember the sweet piece as well under the Westway.
Yeah, and this is
I
honestly
remember all these.
honoured. The last night was incredible. The private view. So we're here today
To celebrate.
Yeah.
To celebrate.
Very good.
Don, absolute honour. I can't
It's a
believe
gift from Pac to you. To say thank you for all your work that you're doing, and thank you for interviewing Lee. And I cannot wait to see. But let's go in. Let's go and enjoy the show.
Let's go and do this. Anyone watching, check that. Look, the Don. I got the big Don, the big Dean. Do you want a cup of tea?
Oh, please.
Right,
Chin chin.